Aloha family. It is 4:03 at 43% double seven here on the big island of Hawaii. And today has been really awesome. A little bit lower energy for me today. And but it was cool because I got to go hang out with some friends who are medical licensed cannabis growers here, and we're teaming up with them and doing some work with them, and growing medicine out here as well on the lava. Justin and I have been pretty busy at planting a lot lately, and we've been gifted some amazing keikis, little baby plants, and there's no grass or dirt or anything out here because it's all off-grid. There's no power lines or anything like that, so it's super cool. Today we planted some little sweet peppers, and we planted some lilikoi. We planted some spinach and some Thai basil. And so we're just growing it up out here. The vision is to buy a piece of property or acquire a piece of property, and right now I'm renting this place, and while I'm here, I get to caretake it as much as I want, and although it doesn't belong to me, these are my roots and this is my energy. So we're planting up the ground and creating abundance while we're here, because we're blessing up the Aina, we're blessing up the land, because when we bless up the land blesses us. Just like the universe, we bless up ourselves and we're the universe, so the universe blesses us up. That's the power of manifestation. That's how to dial into the channel, which is the awareness of the mind. And the channel, when I talk about the channel, I'm talking about the radio signal, which is my vibrational frequency. And that involves my body. The brain, the vessel, is part of the antenna system of being human. It's how we feel, and it's how we think, and it's how we consume and digest and create longevity for ourselves. And so the channel is the mind, which is not our thoughts. We think, but the things that we listen to, that is the channel. And a lot of people ask me how to channel. A lot of people ask me, how did I get there? How did it happen to me? And we all have the channel. All we have to do is realize it's there, and then we start to be able to clear out the clutter in there, which is the past programming, which is learning how to process our emotions and our thoughts and what to do with them, and what we can agree to and what we can't do and what we don't have to agree to. Because, I don't know about you or how in tuned you are to your channel, what's going on in your personal universe, in your mind that is connected to the all, but that is where the communication takes place. That's where we hear inspiration. That is where we get our creativity from. And yes, it is made up of the basket of our experiences, because everything that we've ever touched, tasted, smelt, heard, it's all stored in what I call the mind's file, the memory, the subconscious mind, which is programs everything unconsciously and consciously. And so the beautiful thing about that program system in there is that we get to recreate at any time we want. And when we get quiet to listen to the channel, that's when we turn on the dial. We turn up the dial of sending and receiving, because we become aware of what's going on in there, versus just like listening to it and then taking it all in and thinking that's how it's supposed to be and that's the reality, when in fact it's not. Those are repeat programs. And what I've noticed about my mind is, and through experience from feeling like that I was in this supreme state of nirvana, to then go deeply down the rabbit hole again, is that this lifetime is like a roller coaster. It literally is like riding a wave of energy. And when we're mindful of our thought processes and we listen to what's going on up here, we then get to shift, because our stories, the things that have happened to us, are all just memories. They're stories of experiences that are no longer present, unless we're still living in that experience. And so that means that if there's program that's looping in the mind, it doesn't have to stay there because the mind listens. We get to change the frequency of our reaction to our physical body due to thought processes. And that means we program our body because our body responds to our thought processes, like the fight or flight, all of that. You feel it in your gut and your solar plexus. Our body becomes chemically programmed by the thoughts and experiences that we've had in the past and that are playing in the present moment. And so when we realize that fear is just either something that is unknown, that hasn't been felt or seen or discovered yet for an individual to experience, or it's a fear of some sort of pain in the past. And so when we recognize that neither one of those things are really valid because it's just a feeling of something else, that helps us be able to push past fear even more, because fear is a tool to teach, although it doesn't have to be the teaching tool. Yes, it's been our experience, but it doesn't mean that we have to live in fear and we have to continue to keep learning because of fear. It doesn't have to be that way. Life still happens. We encounter other people. Telepathy is a real thing. And if you're in your mind and your channel, you know that everything you think is not yours. And so, of course, there's going to be triggers of fear because there is such deep programming literally in our DNA. You know, the body is alive. It's a collection of cells that are listening to you, that are vibrating with you according to your thought processes, my thought processes, all of that stuff. And so getting in the channel means that we get to get in here in the mind and listen. And that's why it's great to turn the TV off. That's why it's great to get out in nature or just sit in quiet or play some binaural beats or whatever and be alone sometimes. It's great to be alone because then you get to process everything. And even if someone is in the room with you, we're still connected in some way energetically. And so that's why it's really important to take some time alone to process. And you don't even have to process. It can just be a meditation time where you do what you want or just not have anything around you, because it's it gets easier too to be around certain people when you can align with people that you can be quiet in the same room with. That's priceless. So don't take those relationships for granted. I'm learning not to take those relationships for granted because it's really important to be able to process the things that are going on in here. And the greatest way that I process is by the way I feel, not by what I'm thinking. Not by what someone else says, but the way I feel. If something triggers me in a way that doesn't feel good, I will stop most of the time before I attach so that I can move it out of the way and reprogram it, because those frequencies that come in that cause me not to feel good are not of my resonance. My resonance is much higher than all of that. So when those things come in, I can grab it immediately and move it out, because I realize that fear and not feeling good is not my innate nature. So then it makes it easier for me to process. And so to tune in more, so Jamie asked, how can I tune into my artistic channel better? Well, that's a great question, because that's also a place where I am. I used to use a lot of drugs in the past, and I didn't have my creative side explored as a child. And when I got into using drugs, it brought out my artistic side, and I began painting and doing all of those things. Well, I got several years ago, and I've been trying to figure out how to get that artistic spike, that flow back up. And what I found is that I am able to do it more by loving myself and taking time to myself and actually putting action in behind the things that interest me, like painting. I really love to paint, and I just haven't felt the drive to do it. And since I've been back in Hawaii these last couple of weeks, I have taken the time to get out a canvas and I've begun drawing. And before, I would feel like I would have to do everything all at one time. And now I realize that art, just like life, because it's art, is progressive, and we can take our time with anything we want to create. And so I'm picking it up and I have it sitting in the room and I'm looking at it every day and it's pulling me to it. Like the little bit I've drawn on the canvas, now I'm like sitting there looking at it and I'm manifesting colors and what kind of colors I'm going to pick out and things like that. So just like learning about the self, um, really activating that creative flow is the same way. We just nurture it as it comes about. And the other thing is I don't push myself to do anything. Like even though I feel super creative, if I don't have the physical drive to do it, I won't push myself until I really know it's time. And then I don't have to push myself. And that's just like with anything else. So I say just start putting a little bit of action behind it. Even just thinking, being expanded to look at things and get inspired to create. That's the beauty of art. That's the beauty of being a human when we get past the programming of the past. And channeling is something that's been very interesting. We all do it even though we don't realize it in one way or the other. And in the last few years since I activated in this ascension process that so many of us are going through, and I began feeling activations and upgrades and all of this stuff in my body, like in crazy amazing ways, and I still do. A little over 2 years ago, I started actively channeling, and some of you have seen my videos and you know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And so channeling comes through in a lot of different ways. It comes through thought processes. It comes through, for me, it comes through as mudras and the body work and energy work that I do with people. It's like part of my channel is that the signal of my body, because we are an antenna, the brain and the body, everything is an antenna. It seems as though my antenna signal will, and I refer to my hands, but it's my entire vessel that does it. My hands will automatically show me on the human body what is to be cleared and adjusted. And I'm also working with acupressure points, meridian lines, organs, chakras, tapping, all these different modalities of healing, of clearing energy is the hugest part of my channel. So part of what I show online is only a little smidgen of what I actually do with myself and other humans. And so, and when I'm working with people and myself, messages will come through for them. I don't actively sit and I haven't worked with my channel like I see a lot of people do, where they will like channel for people. I haven't developed that part of myself, or I guess I should say, felt interest to explore that all that much. It just seems like things come up. So I'm really fascinated at other people's channels because it's phenomenal how it just the stuff just drops in. It's really spectacular. And so, and the way I was able to get there, I mean, obviously it's part of my destiny because that's why I'm doing it. But I know that anyone can tap into their channel when they start paying attention and actually listening to what's going on in there. It doesn't take a whole lot of work to do that because the mind will automatically start shifting your own consciousness when we tell the subconscious what to do by action, and especially with intention. When you use intention, that's when things really, really start to change in there. And so, and not only being aware of thought processes, it is amazing to stay on top of your game. Like, it keeps me mindful of myself because I just innately know that I have to be the clearest channel possible so that I can be fully connected with source. And so things that aren't of resonance that make me feel uncomfortable either internally or externally don't stay around for very long because I recognize the importance of being at peace and clear. Because, you know, the human life is a trip and we are engaging with other people and their programs, their psyches and all of that. And so, you know, being able to express ourselves in a way that feels good is important. Okay, so Jamie just asked another question. Do you ever worry about the channel being intercepted by dark forces? Okay, that's a really good question too, and that's something that I actually was talking about today because since I began channeling, life has drastically changed for me. I would say that my whole existence has definitely changed. Life is not as it used to be, and so there are times when I am very, very clear, and there are times when I've really gone through it in the first part of it in ways that sometimes I felt like I was losing my mind. Like I would say outside, I'm literally going insane right now. Like I'm not kidding. I would feel so insane in my brain because of everything that I was witnessing. It's like literally going down a tunnel is what it felt like and coming back out. And I knew, and yes, it's a little frightening at times, but I know that that is what I'm paying attention to. So I have the power to control my energy behind it. And so that's what I do. I will hear things that are out of like not my normal flow. And I feel like sometimes there's some trickery going on for sure. Maybe some entities are listening to my thoughts in my life, and then they'll drop in some things. And I feel like sometimes I'm being tested, is what it feels like. And it can get exhausting. I went through a really long patch of that happening for months. And I'm just now, like in the last couple of months, really coming on the lighter side of it where it's not happening as much. And I have to say that since I have been going through some really intensive body work over the last several months, I went to Mexico recently and got certified in Rolfing, which is structural integration. And I have done two 10-session series. I've had those done to myself during my course training. And not only does it unravel like it moves the myofascial tissue in the body so that the skeletal structure, the spine can align in the gravity field. During that body work, the way that Rolfing works is that it activates consciousness in huge ways. And so since I have been doing this body work over the last like 4 months or so, I have really gone through some next level healing in my psyche. And I actually saw a couple of entities jump off of my back in the places where I've had knots and things that haven't been moved for years. Like literally saw them. I could see the shape of the entities as they jumped off. And so I know that that beings attract, just like vibration, the law of attraction. And so the vibration that we are vibrating at, there are entities or beings or forces or whatever we want to call it that attach to us. And it depends on the vibration of the human. And and a huge factor of that plays into the physical body. And so that's why the structural work and body work and stretching is so important, because I literally saw the entities leave my body because of moving the energy out. So I know that when the body is like certain forces or entities can attach to us because of vibrations in certain areas. That's why a lot of people have, you may have heard of entities being removed. I've removed entities from people before during learning my channel. So it's a real thing. Now, that means that the higher the vibration we get, those, by law of nature, those vibrations can no longer stay attached because we're of a different resonance. So the higher we raise our vibration, the higher we attract. Literally, and in the spirit realm, that's what I believe up to this point. That's what I know to be true for myself up to this point. I can't speak for anyone else. I can only share my experience. And so, those 2 times when I visibly saw those entities leave my body, I was mind blown because I've heard of that and I've witnessed myself channeling to remove entities from people, but I hadn't experienced it myself. And so the fact that I actually saw it in my mind's eye, once I had my eyes open and saw it out of the corner of my eye, clear as day, like I could still draw the outline of the black energy one was a female and one was a male, and it wasn't like a human thing. It was very fascinating. And so I'm constantly mind blown by all of this new awareness in the spectrum of consciousness and energy in our physical bodies. And so that's why I like to encourage people, as I am continually every day, to encourage myself to sit on the floor or in your chair and stretch and really start working and loving up your body. It's so important to do. And it has definitely shifted my consciousness. And I do a lot of healing channeled sessions on myself. So I've been healing my body also, my physical body. And you can do the same thing. All you have to do is have the activated awareness that you are an energetic vessel that transfers energy. If you rub your hands together and it gets really hot, well, you just created an energy vortex. If you ever feel like swirling or something like that in your hand, like that's energy. And so if you have something going on in your body that is causing you some issues, imagine that your hands are activated and they are your healers. And you are going to heal that spot by the energy that's going to come out of your hands through to your body to clear the energy out. You don't even have to think about it as healing, to clear the energy out. And you can hold your hands over the spot and even on the spot if you want to, and just lay there. And just imagine there's energy coming through. And then you don't have to think anything at all because the body, the channel, is already listening to what you want. So it creates that reality. And it may take some practice, to rev up, because those are new antenna signals that you are now activating. The body has to learn what the mind tells it and vice versa. So there's this interesting relationship, and our thought processes do that. It programs it. And so like last night, I was laying in bed and I've been working on my right hip so much. I didn't realize I was having a lot of issues because my femur and my lower leg, everything has been twisted. I've been walking incorrectly most of my life due to a car accident I was in when I was 19. And I turned 40 on Thursday, so my birthday's coming up. So it's been a while. And so because of that, it's been causing issues in other parts of my body, which I've been repairing. And so last night I was laying in bed and I just thought, okay, my hip's hurting, it's vibrating energy. And what it is the energy is not flowing down to my feet. So my chakras I get really upper chakra sometimes. And so I've been working to align that so the energy can flow down and out of my feet. And last night it was hurting and I thought, okay, I'm just going to put my hands on my side and just wait. Well, then automatically my hand starts moving and it starts digging and moving around the top of the hip bone, which is called the crest of the ilium. And I began pushing down on the inside of my pelvis bone with my hand and just moving all of that tissue. That's all stuck fascia tissue. Everybody has it. Just moving and moving and moving. And then I found this like thin, like stringy piece of tissue that I just instinctively knew that it was attached to the inside of that pelvic bone, and I had to release it. So I pushed really hard and I was able to release it, and then boom, there was like an explosion of energy, and I felt these huge swirls of energy just swirling and swirling and swirling around my body, and it was not comfortable. It wasn't painful like a sharp pain, but it was really uncomfortable. So I just laid there and just meditated on it because I knew that it was the energy releasing. And I just put my hands there and just helped the energy push down and out of my feet. And it clears it. And so that is the power that we have. We really don't have to rely on anyone else to heal ourselves, even physically, although it is nice to be in community or to know one or two people that we can help each other out. I seem to attract a lot of healers to work with. It's like physically, like we're in online. It's like we're aligning when we're doing these sessions with each other, activating, spiraling each other up. And it's because like when we get together and we can share our love, our gift of healing in whatever capacity that is, we level each other up. Like all we do as humans is have to show up and be open to receive, and we can elevate each other's consciousness and start the manifestation game rolling, like change the law of attraction to create realities that we all want. And that's the way I see it, like getting our channels together, working together, creating space for other people to come, not just healers, to be able to next level themselves up. And that's the vision I have for a healing center, is to offer that space for people to come to. Because, all we need is a mirror reflection, and it doesn't always have to be the painful kind. Like, we can really level each other up by all the greatness that we have if we share it with each other. That's a collective community, and really that's what it's about. And it just takes some like-minded beings to come together that doesn't have an ego to compete or try to prove a point, so that we can just like next level everything up, business, personal lives, like the money flow, whatever it is that we want, we can have with each other. So that's why I see creating retreats and things like that for people to travel here, and for me to travel to them as well. And let's work together and see what we can do, and like next level each other up. It only takes a day. We can spend a whole day together, and it's life changing. That's the beauty of when we get some conscious beings together, people that want to be conscious, because we're all conscious. It's just a matter of what kind of mirrors we're evolving with. That's the importance of community. That's the importance of being open to share, because then we get to call in the type of people that we want in our lives. And that includes in our jobs, in our personal lives. And then the children get to learn too. It's so important not to forget the children. We must teach our children about all of this. Like, we're learning consciousness, teach them consciousness, because they understand a lot more than the adults give them credit for. I don't have children myself, yet I definitely understand the psyche flows of it all and the rhythms that we can do to elevate the future. And that is through the children, right? That's what ancestral elders do. And if we're going to continue to create greatness, then we have to spread it and share it with people, learn from each other, the elders and the young ones. Like, we're all unified in this space together, and we can create a lot of really great things, and we can feed a lot of people in the meantime too. Growing food is really important. And so that's what I'm doing out here right now. Not sure what the next future endeavor is. And so at the meantime, we're out here putting food in the lava and connecting more with this community here in Hawaii, and looking to do group events and to work with people individually on their bodies and their minds, and vice versa. We're here to heal each other, and that's what is important. Thank you for tuning in with me. I love you all so much, and we have a full moon coming up, and yeah, love you to the moon.